Good evening. We call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. We note that we do have a quorum. I believe all members of the council are participating. With that, we
Mayor,
will.
just for the record, we don't have Tom yet. I'm sure he's joining, but he's not with us yet.
Yeah, I saw him join. He must dropped off again. So,
Okay.
okay. So maybe he's just having a problem. He'll join us shortly, I'm sure. Okay. With that, then we'll begin with our traditional Inside the City video.
Westfest went really well this year. It was kind of a rebuild year, so we were really excited to see so many people actually come out and participate. We had a great night on Thursday, Friday, and on Saturday. When we arrived on Saturday, there were even people gathering before we even opened, so it was a fantastic event this year. City tent stayed busy the entire festival. We had somebody flowing through, and we had a police department in one tent. We had city information about Parks and Recreation, about the Division of Arts and Culture, about West Valley City Neighborhood Services, National Night Out. Challenging, not knowing exactly what to plan for with Westfest this year. The committee did an excellent job in trying to plan for whatever might happen, always being aware of what the county was releasing as far as information, so we were planning appropriately. So some of the feedback from residents we did receive was that they were super excited to be able to come out and be out with the community again, to be part of something in the neighborhood and in the community, to be outside among friends and relatives, because West Fest draws people from multi-generational pull. It's a multi-generational pull. They bring people back into the community. They've grown up here, they've moved away, they come back for West Fest. So it was really positive feedback from a lot of people, just the high energy of being able to be outside again, as well as being able to do something safely outside. It was really something that people really cherished in being able to do.
Thank you. I should note that for the public, our meeting is being held both in person and electronic. As you'll note, some council members are participating electronically, and the public can also participate the same electronically or attend in person. Let's see, Councilman Bueller, is there anyone there that we need to recognize specifically? Any elected officials visiting?
No.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to our minutes of June 8th. A motion on the minutes.
Motion to approve those minutes.
Second?
Properly before us. Without objection, then the minutes will be approved. Hearing no objection, that vote is unanimous. Next, we go to our public comment period. Nicole, do we have anyone online electronically to speak to us?
No, sir, there is no one here electronically.
Okay, then how about present in person there?
We do have several people signed up in person.
Okay, if you'll just announce their name and invite them to come forward, since you have that list there, go ahead.
The
Mayor?
first one is,
Oh, yes?
We might make mention that there's some public hearings later that people might want to speak about, but this is not the time to speak about those items that are on our agenda for a public hearing.
That's correct. Did everyone understand that? If by chance you're on the list already and we call your name, just let us know that you want to speak to one of the later items on our agenda, those two public hearings that we have scheduled. Okay, with that, Nicole?
Barbara Merriman.
Hello. The reason that I am here today is that we moved here 30 years ago and we've lived on the same cul-de-sac in the same area. About 2 weeks ago, we have a skunk problem. And they're getting pretty brazen. They come out before dark. The mother and her 4 little babies walk down the street, roll in the cement on the sidewalks, go into the neighbors' yards and play. And they have dug holes under my fence and into the neighbor's fence. And the neighbors happen to have chickens. So we have called a professional, Pest Pros, and they came and did an evaluation and they tried to track their tracks, where they go and where they're coming from, according to where we've seen them. And they said, we have a really big problem. So we got a contract with them. The initial charge to bring the cages, the traps, to get them was, I believe, $139. For each skunk that they catch, it's $100. With our initial investment, we're over $800 since last Tuesday. And it's not getting any better. We had a skunk in my son's yard last night early this morning that sprayed his dogs. Our concern is that we don't know if the skunks have rabies. They're getting very brazen coming out in the daytime. My daughter and I last Friday night were sitting in our backyard at a table, a picnic table. There was a skunk in the far corner And when he noticed us, he kind of charged us. So we, of course, jumped up and ran in. And then he charged towards the door. So my daughter opened the door and slammed it to scare him away. Well, when we told that to the professional that's been coming to pick up the skunks, he said that's what they do. They'll charge you, then they'll stop, and then they'll charge you again. And then before you can count to two, they've done their little backflip and you're sprayed. So at this point, after 8:30 at night, we can't go out in our backyards. We can't go out in our front yards. We can't let the dogs out. The dogs have to stay in at night because we don't want them sprayed. And there's a lot of children. We don't know if they have rabies, but we don't want to find out when one of those little kids gets bit because they think they're cute. The neighbors kind of are all having a disagreement as to whose fault this is, who should be held responsible, who should be paying for it. At this point, our feeling is if the city allows chickens, then the city needs to have some way to compensate for the skunks. And I guess that's it. We just really, the smell is, every night. It's not fun, but thank you. Oh, and yeah, she'll call. Yeah. Anybody have any questions? Okay, yeah, but for 30 years and all of a sudden in 2 weeks to have captured that many. Oh, and one was hit out on the street. So that makes 8. And then my son's skunk that sprayed his dog, that makes 9 in 2 weeks that we're aware of. So anyway.
Okay, just for the public's awareness, the 5 minutes is for the person making the comments, and it is typically not an interaction between the council and the individual. So we typically don't allow questions there. We will during the later public hearings on those items.
Thank you.
But all comments should be addressed to the mayor, and we go from there, and 5 minutes maximum. So thank you. With that, Nicole, next.
Kathy Turner.
I live on the same cul-de-sac and have been there for 30 years, and everything that Barbara says is basically what's going on. The issue that we're having too is the people that have chickens. I don't know how many chickens they have, but they have chickens and dogs. And I think that the ordinance is 4 chickens and they can't have any dogs or something like that. But I don't think that's being adhered to. And the man that's taking the skunks away said that he's surprised that we don't have rats. And he says the rats will come in before the skunks. And so it's causing an issue that we want to take care of. And like Barbara said, there's only 3 of us on the whole circle that will take responsibility and try to get them because they keep having more babies and we can't go into our yards. And so we don't feel like that we should have the cost on our end. And since the city is allowing the chickens, we think that the city council should be responsible for some of this, hauling them away after they're caught or something to help us out, because I'm sorry, but you've caused the problem by bringing in the chickens. And I'm from a farm in Idaho and we're in a farm and have chickens, but people aren't responsible. And you know that, I don't have to tell you that, but we're trying to be responsible and it's not working. And it's just causing all kinds of havoc in the neighborhood. And like Barbara, we've been there 30 years too. And they're just a pest and a menace and everything else. And we really appreciate your help on this because it's getting way out of control. Thank you so much.
Next, we have Max Weiss.
This meeting is being.
Sorry, I'm a little slow. Yeah, I just thought I'd stop by and introduce myself. My name is Max Weiss, and I'm running for at-large. And I'm doing a lot of research into some of the questions that people have been asking me. And I came tonight to just kind of watch and see what's going on. Thank you.
Next, we have Jim Visock.
Well, this is unusual. Usually I'm the first one. Last 2 weeks, there's been a lot of things that have happened in the city. And so I'm just going to kind of give a little report. We had the Hump Day kickoff for Fairborn Station Concert in the Park. Great attendance. A lot of people came out. It's a fun activity. The food trucks are out there, music. It's a fun event to go to. I went to another My Hometown meeting. A lot of the same concerns are coming up. We tried to steer them though more how hometown can help as a fixing yards and stuff like that, the initial intent, instead of bashing the city, unfortunately. But there was a lot of interest, which I'm glad to see, for Neighborhood Watch. And I directed them to Craig Thomas. He has a whole program. And so it was good to give them that information. The My Hometown Health Fair, that happened also. It started off slow, and then we all kind of got together and decided to put signs and send people out on the corners and bring them in. And when it ended, I believe there was 42 people that got COVID shots. So anytime we can get people to get COVID shots, that's great. Chamber West Gala happened. I was fortunate to be invited. It was a great event. One of my favorite restaurants was up for Small Business of the Year. They didn't win it, but it was good to see them out there. Let's see, Mountain View Corridor is open all the way down to California Avenue now. I did the walk. Jamie Young, Assistant Park and Rec, was there. Nancy Day was there. I was a little disappointed though that nobody else showed up from the council. I know there was meetings and stuff out there that people were in, but it was kind of disappointing. Westfest, Craig gave a great tutorial about Westfest. It was fun. It was hot. And I did see several of you out there. Let's see, what's next? Chilling with the Chief is happening. It's not as often as it's been in the past years, but at least they're out there doing it again. It was a positive event. More people showed up to that than all the pop-up play in the parks that before they canceled that happened. So, and let's see, what else do I have? Ribbon cutting today for one of our new industrial parks. Beautiful building, solar, all the technology they put into this building, bringing business to West Valley City. Man, it beautiful, beautiful building. Several of you guys were there. It was a fun thing to be at. And last but not least, in the meeting over there, you guys talked about the fireworks safety. What I'd like to see is Chief Evans and even Mr. Pyle sit down like they did with the Coven and do a little tutorial or a thing and say, hey, this is what we allow, this is what we don't allow. Think safe, make sure your kids are monitored. You know, something like that, something put together, put it out on YouTube, through our West Valley channels, all that kind of stuff. So the COVID one was pretty successful, and I think they could do that pretty quick. That's all I have. Stay safe, stay strong.
Is there anyone else?
Yes, one more, Mike Markham.
Okay.
Mike Markham, once again, there seemed to be a lot of confusion on who could hear what, who couldn't hear. You know, I don't think there was one person in the study meeting chambers that couldn't hear what was going on. I could hear everything the people that were in the room were saying. Had a few problems with the stuff, with the comments made by people outside the room. But, and I don't understand why people can't come to the meetings and be in their chairs physically, but there must be a reason for that. You go to fireworks, it's like I've always said, you hit people in the pocketbook, they think about it, they start the fire, they pay for the fire. But we won't do that because we don't believe in making people responsible. Street parking, I don't know if we're doing anything about that anymore. Used to be utility trucks would be cited. Semi-truck tractors would be cited. Utility trailers would be cited. See them parked all over the streets now, motorhomes, nothing seems to be happening. So there again is another thing we've talked about that hasn't happened. And in watching some of the council meetings online, there were some people that called in and talked about how sad it was that more people didn't get involved in the meetings. Well, as most of you know, I've been involved in a lot of them. Why? Beats the daylights out of me. Because I stand up here and I could have my monkey mask on, Mr. Pyle. That's what it is. There's no comments, there's no nothing, there's no follow-up. It's like I said last week, at least Russ Willardson would call me and follow up on things when there was questions. Steve has called me a couple of times on some issues or ignored me on some other issues. But, you know, if you want people to come to the meetings, make them feel like they're welcome. Don't just stare at us like we're whatever you want to think of us, because we're actually the ones that vote for everybody. You know, I've supported every tax increase this city's put forth. I think you need to pay for what you get. If you don't want to pay for it, then get out. You know, I'm a firm believer of paying for, you know, it's like the fireworks. You start the fire, you pay for it. You have to call in search and rescue, you pay for it. All this kind of stuff needs to be paid for somehow. Schools, you know, so, you know, but I guess my request would be is if, you know, certain people want us to come and get involved with the city, make us feel like you really care. Because my feeling is now is nobody really cares what the public has to say. So that's it.
Mayor, that's everyone that signed up for the open public comment period.
All right, thank you very much. Then I'm having problems with my iPad, so I'm on my phone now. But with that, then we go to the rest of our agenda. Let me just see next. Any comments from our city manager?
No comments, Mayor. Thanks.
Okay. Any comments from the council?
Yes, I do, Mayor.
Go ahead.
I personally think we need to have put aside small fund for the skunk here with the Pat and Barbara. She brought it up. They brought it up earlier. I believe is we are supporting our community in multiple areas, and it's one of the area we need to support them too. We don't let the kind of big burden into the city in our city, and we need to sit down and discuss about. I think it's just small fun and can help them out, not only for the people like Pat and Barbara, but also other people out there in our city. We can pass information to my operation, my hometown, and then let them study a little bit about this, and maybe they can help us out too, and try to figure out how to tackle this. So that's one of my comment.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, this is Jake. I just wanted to make a quick comment and firstly thank everyone who does come to meetings religiously and to those who tune in online as well. And also just add that attendance in person at meetings by community members is not the only criteria, or not the only, we should be cautious in assuming that those who do not attend meetings, planning meetings, study meetings, etc., care less about our community. I live on a street where many of my neighbors are simply unable to attend meetings because they work 2 jobs, or because they're caring for ailing parents and a whole other host of different situations. And so I did want to thank everyone who does come and who does provide input that informs our decisions, and also to remind everyone to be mindful that this is the second biggest city in Utah, and we hear from many, many different voices, many different opinions, and many people in the community in between these meetings that we attend, whether we're online or whether we're in person. And all of these citizens and residents care about community, whether or not they're able to come, whether or not they're able to share on the record in public, or whether they do it through emails or phone calls, or just meeting us on the street. And that's a comment that I just wanted to add.
Thank you. For the public's information, the issue that was brought up on the skunks was brought up in our study meeting by Councilwoman Lang as a future agenda item. We'll be gathering some information and following up on that. So although we may not say much here, we can make a few minor comments, but to study it in depth, it needs to be on our agenda, and we have to announce that 24 hours minimum in advance. Anyway, we will be doing that in a future meeting. With that then, we'll go to our first public hearing to accept public input. This will be on application GPZ-3-2020 filed by Joe Salisbury. This is for property located at 2892 South Decker Lake Boulevard Drive, We will consider in conjunction with that a general plan change, ordinance 21-36, ordinance 21-37, a change of zoning, and resolution 21-93, consideration of a development agreement. This particular item is for 16 acres located there near Decker Lake for 286 rental units, 2-story, 2-car garage, although some of the smaller ones have just 1-car garage, and then a lot of amenities and different things in conjunction with this property. And so this is a fairly typical project that is being requested. But with that introduction, Council, anything you want to add before I open it for public comment? Hearing none, then we'll go to the public. Is there anyone here who wants to speak to this issue?
Mayor, yes, we do have the applicant here, Nate Ship, who would like to do a presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I'm assuming that you can all see my screen. I think I followed instructions and I've turned off my video and my mic from my computer, but you can see the presentation hopefully. My name is Nate Ship. My partner Joe Salisbury and I are excited to be in front of you tonight. We have waited a long time and put a lot of energy and effort into the application that is in front of you. As a matter of background, I'll add, we've really enjoyed that process. It has been a long time, but it's been great to work with your staff. Steve is a very professional planner who understands the needs of your city and has done a great job in communicating your ordinances and been very thorough in his response back to us. Overall, DAI is a group that's been around for the last 25 years. We're a long-term development partner with the municipalities that we work in. We've specialized and pride ourselves in doing more than just development, but that we really recognize that we are building communities for families to live in. We're currently building in Harriman, Saratoga, Salt Lake, Bluffdale, Sandy, Pleasant Grove, Draper. I could go down the list. There's 14 different communities that we're active in right now. We are excited to be back in your city. We have built here before. This is an example of a project we just finished in Harriman, Havendale. It's similar in nature to what we're proposing to you tonight. Here's another example of a project we built in Salt Lake City called The Mark. This one was kind of cool. We built our clubhouse out of storage units, kind of unique. Overall, the property that is in front of you for a rezone request is a project or a piece of property that we now own. We have purchased the property and intend on developing it. So the vacant field that's there is finally going to have something happen to it. When we begin a project, we always evaluate it on its own, try to let the merits of where it is and what it is and the vision that the city has in your planning, what that does, helps us go through a process. As we do that evaluation, especially in this project, we have stepped back to make sure that we go above and beyond with the intent that we are going to raise the level of the community as a whole, not just for our own individual pocketbooks. So with that in mind, you can see some of the things that we will talk a little bit more in depth about on this chart, including the amenitization that the mayor mentioned, as well as some of the other unique product housing types that we are proposing, the FlexGen unit. So as we look at the right place, we're currently zoned for industrial development. That is a project that we can move forward with. We don't need to come in front of you tonight to ask for that. But as we evaluated it, we really felt like in light of the fact that you have over 1 million square feet of industrial space under construction in your city already, we would consider this a B location, which will attract B tenants. We felt like there's really just a better application for development in this spot. We looked at your code. You've gone through several upgrades to your ordinances over the last year. We've been privy. I sat in the chair over here and listened as you debated your expansion of multifamily in your city. I listened to the residents and the comments that came through. We feel like specifically applied to this spot. The general plan states now that when considering new apartment developments, West Valley City should look for larger areas to do that. This is one of the last larger parcels left, 16 plus acres. Your general plan also talks about the TOD locations, and you drew some circles on your maps. I think we're one of the only pieces of property that's undeveloped that fits within 2 of those circles. So as we evaluated and we looked at what the property was, we came to the conclusion that a better use than what the property is currently zoned for is to develop the property with the rezone request that's in front of you tonight. So overall, we're asking the 16 acres, placing 286 residential units on it. But with that, we start to get into the details, and I appreciate your time. I'll try to move quickly through some of these details. This is the overall site plan that we're proposing. You can see that we have 3 entrances to the site, here, here, and here. We have a couple of different product types. We have 3-bedroom townhomes, and then we have our FlexGen units, which I'll talk more about in detail. We have a large amenity package that goes along with this that I will show you as we go forward. I want to talk real upfront at the beginning. For me, the success of a project like this is dependent upon parking. So whenever we do a layout, I put together with my partner what I call a heat map, so that I can visually see the distribution of parking. It's nice the ordinance calls out a specific number of parking stalls required for the project, but if they're all in the one corner and everybody else lives on the other side, it really doesn't do any good, because there'll still be a lot of parking issues. So this map shows the garage parking is in blue, the surface parking is in brown, and then we have our driveway parking, which is not counted in your code. So we're not asking for credit there, but people do park in driveways, so that you can see we have a good even distribution of parking throughout the project. The other part of that, we'll talk more about the number of stalls that we have, but we have significantly more stalls than are required than is in your ordinance. We've put together a fencing map to show that we will fence the property. We are sensitive to our neighbors. We want to be good neighbors, and good fences make good neighbors. So this is what we're proposing. Pedestrian walkway. Again, success of the project long-term. Neighbors need to be able to walk to neighbors' homes. You can see the red paths that are here. They're meant to be there for connectivity. They're there for the public or the amenity package, so that we can highlight the different areas and encourage people to get out and walk. The property fronts Decker Lake Boulevard. Staff and we were very concerned about the look and feel that you would have along Decker Lake Boulevard. That's a well-traveled road. And so the question was raised, what would it look like when the project's done? This is a rendering of the actual units along Decker Lake. We've left it open. We've brought the fences out to the street to encourage the streetscape. We've put on, and this was actually a really cool idea that Steve came up with, to have some decks up above so that we can encourage people to come out and be a part of that. It's meant to be inviting, friendly, appealing to the eye, so that as you drive by, you don't just see a wall. The amenity package I keep referring to, by code, we're required to do 3 minor amenities and 2 major amenities. And in your code, you have those defined. We're proposing a total of 8 minor and 8 major amenities for a total of 16. Those include this list. So those are spread again evenly throughout the project. And the open space area as defined here. It will, and these are pictures that are not just pictures. We're committing to these tonight and in our development agreement to have a boulder cave and waterfall area. We are looking to create a resort style living package, so that when you walk in, you feel like you are at a really cool resort. Encouraging people to come. Hot tub underneath, great big pool, gathering area. We'll do some lounge chairs that you can put it, that are built inside the water. We'll have a water slide. We're even talking about a lazy river that we're committing to, so the kids can go out and float around in the river. It's one of my favorite amenities. I don't know, I've got 5 kids and I can sit in an inner tube and they can jump on me and I just keep floating. So appealing to me. But that will circulate around through the pool and past the water slide, past the hot tubs and the fire pits. This is a picture of the clubhouse that we just finished building. Gives you some scale of what we're proposing and kind of the level of finish work that would be on the inside. We will be doing something similar in nature. It will include a fitness center, a game room. I don't believe you should do a fitness center unless you can do it adequately. So this will be a project that will include the different stations where you can actually do a full workout. This is, again, pictures of the one we just finished in Harriman, the one we're proposing for your city, and then this project will actually be bigger than this. It's meant to look out over the pool just like it is here. So that maybe have some older kids out swimming and mom or dad can go in and work out and watch their kids. The other things that we're doing include active family play. So going with the H2O theme, we have proposed doing tot lots. These are the tot lots that we have designed. So tower structures, places for the kids to climb and play and actively move from one spot to the next, all kind of themed around the water. The fish and the blue and the colors are all part of this, but not a small swing set. This is a substantial investment in the tot lot stuff. The other thing we took a lot of time on was to look at the product itself that we're proposing. We really appreciated the work and energy that went into upgrading your code for the exterior of your units. We totally agree with all of that. In fact, we either meet or exceed all of your new ordinances for the exterior of the unit. So our product will include 20% brick stone, 25% fenestration, the siding, and a minimum of 1 car garage for every unit. This is a picture of our rear loaded townhomes. This is a Project Santorini in South Jordan on Redwood Road. Again, a picture of what we build. So as important to me on the outside as what's on the inside. We will be upgrading these units, quartz finishes, full-size washer and dryers, spacious closets, those kinds of things. This is, and including the smart home technology so that we can stay in with the times and make sure that they're energy efficient. We're sensitive to our environment and want to make sure that what we build is sustainable. I'm most excited to talk about the idea that these will be marketed. A third of our property will be 3-bedroom townhomes. The larger townhomes meant for families. The other part of our project is designed for extended family living. So we're calling this our FlexGen townhome product. It's meant to attract and will be marketed to families that are multi-generational, a place where mom and dad can sell their house and come live in the same unit as their kids and their grandchildren. So many times we see individuals and families that have to drive their daughter. My partner's one of them, not Jim, but Joe, my partner who's not here tonight, is a grandpa. And his daughter drops off her daughter every day as she goes to work. Grandma is a big part of her life. This is a product that's designed so that they can have their own space. They can pay their own bills. That's why they're separate units. They'll be separately metered, but it's meant to be a place where instead of having to go across town, they can drop downstairs and leave the daughter in this really cool environment of the amenities and leave them with grandma or grandpa while they go on with their life. It's really meant to attract a lifestyle. This is new. It's not something that's been done on purpose a lot in Utah, but it's something that we have seen grow organically in larger homes where we see families now living together. I know some of your council members have real life experience with that. This is a product that's designed specifically for that. Again, these are elevations that we're committing to tonight. This is what it will look like. These are the floor plans so that downstairs you'll have a 1-bedroom unit that's meant for probably the older generation. And then upstairs is a 2-bedroom unit that would be meant for a younger generation, living together in the same unit, but separate enough that we can still be friends even though we're family. And there's some alternative options in there. I know I've had some feedback on, one bath versus two bath, or excuse me, one sink versus two sinks up top. And we're still working through some of those details. We're doing a lot of study. We're trying to get some feedback from the community and our demographic that we're attracting. So the floor plan we're committing to, the finite details we're still working on, not meant to be in any way deceiving. Just want to be upfront that whether or not we have one sink upstairs or two, we're still figuring that out. Again, this is really meant to be a solution for a population overall that we see as aging, where we have people that are more my age trying to care for their parents and parents not knowing where to go. And this is meant to be an alternative that isn't out there now. Consequently, I do want to highlight that this community is a renter by choice community. We will be directly competing with those who could buy a house. It's not a bottom rent market. Our intent is that we will be much higher in our rents than what is seen in your city today. You can see that your median rent right now is at $996 for a one bedroom. We are committing tonight to be 18% higher than that. And for our three bedrooms, we will be 22% higher than what is in your median today. That compares straight across to these projects. These might be a couple of weeks old. I think we put this together about a month ago, and rents have been going up in the last month. If any of you are following that market, we would just raise our rents. Our building costs are going up as well. So you'll see that we are significantly higher in our rents. We know that going in. We feel like we can still be successful with this product. We will be looking for those who choose this kind of a lifestyle over other alternatives that are out there. A couple of other pieces that I should note. One is we are very concerned about this being a safe neighborhood because we intend on having an elderly component. We want to make sure that this is a place that people aren't threatened. We have gone around and, for instance, strategically located 16 different monitoring cameras that will be outside on property. It will include making sure that all of the tenants have background checks done and are screened, and there will be nightly security tours that go through and check the property and make sure everything's okay. Again, all the things that we're committing to tonight. Now, with all of that said, we know that this part of the presentation is applied to us. And if we're going to ask for a rezone, if we're going to ask to have something more than what we're currently zoned for, we need to also give you all a reason for that. I feel strongly about that. We should raise the bar for not just ourselves, but everybody. We sat down and looked at the property and have met now with the county multiple times and are committing to spend money improving the Decker Lake County Park. We would like to see this park, for our own selfish reasons, but also for everybody else's reasons, get a facelift. And with that, we're proposing doing pickleball courts. We're proposing building a massive play tower structure. This would be open to the public. This structure kind of goes along with the themes of the Decker Lake. So there's the reeds there that's meant to be depicted by our landscape architect. It's kind of in theming of that whole area. But this is a tall structure. It's over 30 feet tall. So it will be visible. This will be a statement. People will be able to see this park as they drive down the freeway. The commitment from the county, and then we've added some other play structures and some rope courses and made it very, again, active family fun. So this is some more depictions of that. We met a couple of times with the county. They have committed to us that they will maintain this new improvement. They are behind this. We don't have that in writing yet from them. My commitment to you tonight is that if we're not successful in getting that in writing and the county, for some reason, backs away from this, that the money that we're committing, which is in excess of $500,000, $540,000, we would work with your staff to find a city park, preferably one as close as possible to our project, but somewhere in your city where we would spend those dollars. And we would work with them to figure out what that is. Our intent, though, is to do it on the county park. I just don't want to put the city in a place where you all end up with a county that's now not taking care of it. It's not, it'll fall apart. None of us want that. So because I don't have that in writing, my commitment is to spend the money in your city. So that's our project. I really appreciate your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have, or go through any other of the ideas. My partner Joe is also here to speak to whatever answers I can't come up with.
Hey, council, any comments or questions? Hearing none, then we'll see if there's anyone else that wants to speak to this.
Yes, sir, we do have
Thank you
one
very
other
much.
person. Jim Visa?
Is,
Hey, look, a computer. In the 4+ years that I've been coming to city council meetings and study meetings, all the projects that I've seen come before you guys and the great need for rental property in West Valley City, I've never seen a project that is so nice, would fit in there, would all the amenities that they're offering. I mean, I wish all our builders and some of the things that are going on would give all these amenities and, be willing to spend $500,000 in a park or fixing up Decker Lake. Wow, incredible. I think it's a no-brainer. I hope it's a unanimous vote. And let's get this project going as soon as they can. That's all I have.
thank you. Anyone else?
No, sir, it doesn't look like so.
Okay, then we'll close the public comment portion, bring it back to the council for any comments or motions or whatever is the pleasure of the council.
So I would like to start with agreeing that this is a really good project. I think they have added a lot of amenities that would be great for an apartment complex. I'm just not sure that this is the correct location for it. I think along Decker Lake, we need to stay more with the commercial. A foreseeable problem is when you have the units face a major road like that without a fence, people seem to park along that road as if it's their front driveway because their doorway is right there. It's easy for their visitors, which then puts cars on our streets, even though I have to agree, the parking and visitor parking is above our limits, and I really appreciate that effort that was put into that. I mean, I can't say anything bad about the development except the placement. I just don't think this is the place for it. I think in that area, we have enough rental product, and I would rather see it stay commercial.
And I remember voting down a previous residential project at the same location, and it wasn't anything special like this. And what we said at that time, or I think I said at that time, we want this to be commercial. That's what we planned for. And nothing commercial seems to be going there. I think there's been some analysis there's been some presentation by the developer that why commercial doesn't fit there. And I think this is a special project, and I'm going to make a motion that we approve ordinance 21-36.
Second.
Mayor, you show unmuted, but we can't hear you still.
So we're gonna try to get him to just call on his phone. We're assuming he's having some sort of Bluetooth problem with the car. I mean, it looks like he's there. Like you said, he looked like he was unmuted, so we'll see if we can try something else.
Hello. For some reason, I'm not getting through.
You're on.
Oh, I'm on?
You are. I think we're ready for a vote.
We haven't taken any action in your absence, Mayor, so we had a motion and a second, and then no further comment or action has been taken.
Okay, so ordinance 21-36 was the motion?
Yes.
Thank you. I don't know what happened. I just lost my connection. But thank you, Councilman Bueller, for following up with that. So hearing no further comments, then to our city recorder for the vote. Is that what we're ready for?
Yes.
Okay.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
No.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
I must admit that I had some reservations on that, but that presentation was such a good one that it swung me around. So with that then, back to the council for any further action.
I'd move to approve ordinance 21-37.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt?
Yes.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Hune?
Aye.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang?
No.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu?
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes by majority.
Okay, council, next.
I would move for approval of resolution 21-93.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu?
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang?
Yes.
Councilman Bueller?
Aye.
Councilman Hune?
Aye.
Councilman Christensen?
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt?
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right, next we have on our agenda, let's see, we have Z-2-2021 filed by Northrop Grumman. And this is on property located at 6865 West, 4100 South. And approximately 19.3 acres of property for a zone change on the property. Let's see, this one, they were building some homes, or their plan is to build some homes there. There was an adjustment on a boundary line where that got mixed up with some existing homes. The rest of this will be put into homes there by the railroad tracks. I think the two items requested by the council, that notification be required for those who purchase there about the railroad and about the overpressure zone that exists there. And with that, felt that that was important to have included. So with that then, we'll open it unless council has anything they want to add on that project. Then we'll open it for public comment. Is there anyone here to speak on this issue?
Mayor, we do have the applicant present electronically, but only for questions if the council has any. Oh, and then we do have one other person in the audience as well. The co-applicant is here as well.
Okay. Council, were there any questions you had of the person online? Hearing none, then we'll go to the person who is personally present.
Thank you. My name's Sean Johnson, and I've been working with Lyndon at Northrop on this, and Steve, both Steves actually, for quite some time. For being such a small development, it's taken a long time to get here, but I think that has to do more with us and in working out the details of this with Northrop. The purpose of this development is obviously for homes, but we actually own property next to Northrop's building that they would rather us not develop on. And so we've been working with them of finding an alternate location. And so this comes with swapping land with Northrop. And so the original land that we were swapping is already zoned for R18. And the reason we were extending and getting this zone change request is the development that we had in place required a second access. And so the way this property is shaped, it didn't really allow for that second access. So we requested just to add a few more homes to be able to get another road, to be able to get that secondary access. And we did hear the comments about the request for those items to be on the plat. and for the fencing, and we are in full support of that. And so we've been working closely with Hamlet Homes on this deal. Hamlet Homes is going to be the one building out the homes. And so we're excited for this development, and I'm here to answer any questions if you have any. Joe did a great job. I mean, my presentation, or Nate did a great job. I mean, my presentation is nothing compared to that. So, but hopefully this is pretty simple. We've been working closely with your staff and have been talking about this for a long time. So.
Okay, council, any questions? Hearing none. Okay, thank you very much. With that, then we will close the public comment portion and bring it back to the council for any action or further discussion.
I move for approval of ordinance 21-38.
Second.
Properly before us, any further comments? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And so back to the council again for consideration of resolution 21-94.
I would move for approval of resolution 21-94.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have application SMI-2-2021 filed by Scott Thorson. Final plat approval for property at 5993 West, SR 201 South Frontage Road. And I believe this is a administrative action. So it's more for, is that correct?
Mayor, that's item number 9. We actually skipped over item number 8, resolution 21-95.
Oh, thank you. My phone is awfully small for old eyes. Okay, well then let's stick with our original agenda. Let's go with resolution 21-95, an agreement to purchase and install a new filtration system that's for secondary water. Not potable water at the Ridge Golf Course. This is for $98,000. This is an urgent request since we're having problems with that system and cannot repair and fix it up. So we want to ensure that that keeps functioning and keeps the golf course open. And with that, then, that introduction to the council.
I would move for approval of resolution 21-95.
Second.
Property before us, hearing no further comments? Nope. Then to our city recorder.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Next, we start the one that I was trying to jump to, SMI-2-2021. This is at 5993 West, SR 201 South Frontage Road, 2 lots, 32 acres. They'll be creating these 2 lots. And so that's probably enough introduction to the council.
Move for approval of application SMI 2-2021.
Second. Property before us. Any further comment? Hearing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay. Next on our agenda. Okay. It's a good thing I can do the magic fingers and make things larger so I can see them. Our consent agenda. This is resolution 21-96, a quitclaim deed on Brighton Canal for property coming to the city. That will work things out and in disuse and will be a plus for the city. All of the rest of the items, resolutions 21-97 through 108, are for reappointments or appointments, most of them reappointments to various city committees, and this will ratify, if approved, the city manager's actions. To the council then.
Mayor, I move for approval of the 13 items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Properly before us, hearing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hune,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. There's no need for a closed session. So that completes our agenda for tonight. Unless the council has any final comments. Oh, we remind the public that next week there will be no council meetings. As is our tradition, we will not hold council meetings on the 5th Tuesday of the month, but we will reconvene in 2 weeks. With that, Ben?
Mayor, I can make a comment for go back to the property located 2892 South Decker Lake Drive. I don't know, maybe your copy is different than my copy, but here I have a development agreement. It's a West Valley City LLC 2 instead of a DAI Partners LLC. Is that include for that property? Because the property on 2892 South Decker Lake Drive is only 1605 acres, but the other one is West Valley's LLC. West Valley 2 LLC is a 19.3 acre. Is that I got wrong information from there, or maybe kind of like?
Okay, Mr. Pyle, can you help me with that? Trying to scroll back and forth on this little screen. If I make it big enough to see, I can't get to it very easily. So help me out there, would you please?
Sure, Mayor, the information has been updated and the council was noticed in an earlier group meet, but Tom just may not have seen that yet. So appreciate Mr. Hune catching that. There was an error earlier, but it was fixed and updated. So the information is correct for the record.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Well, motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn without objection, then we will stand adjourned. Hearing no objections, the voting is unanimous. Thank you all for your patience as we learn to deal a little more easily with electronic meetings and doing both. That will be a part of our future from now on, I guess. Thank you very much and be safe and enjoy your evening.